Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Carried Away Travels. In this week's video, I'm going to be giving you a full review of the new and improved Carnival Sunshine cruise that leaves from Norfolk, Virginia. We've been wanting to try a cruise for a while now. It was just something that got pushed back because all the cruise lines shut down during COVID and then other things got in the way. But we finally went on our first ever cruise back in February of 2025. So we just got back from that and we did decide to go with Carnival because that was the one line that is currently leaving from Norfolk, Virginia, which is our closest port. We had no idea when we booked this cruise, but the Carnival Sunshine, which is the ship that leaves from Norfolk, was due for a complete revamp, and so that just happened in January of 2025, and only one other cruise group embarked on the new Carnival Sunshine before we did. So we were the second group of people to go on this ship. It was beautiful, it was fun, we had an amazing time, but I figured this was the perfect time to give a review of what the ship looks like now. So if you're thinking about taking a cruise on the Sunshine out of Norfolk as well, you know what you can expect. Now, there is so much to cover about this ship, so I'm actually going to be breaking this review into two parts just to make it a little bit more manageable for you and me, so be sure to stay tuned for part 2 coming very soon. In this video, I'm going to be covering the basics of like the ship layout and vibe, dining, room accommodations, service, things like that you need to know. And then in a future video, I'm going to be talking about more of the nightlife and entertainment options. A quick side note, if this is your first time here, I'm Carrie, and I share helpful travel tips, itineraries, gear recommendations, and more, so you can always have the perfect trip. My goal with each video is to educate you and give you all the information you need to know to decide whether a destination or a hotel or an activity is the right fit for you. So if that sounds like the kind of information you want more of on your feed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to get videos like this from me in the future. First off, let's talk about the embarkation process. So there are a couple ways to get on the ship. We were a little confused, and honestly, Carnival did not give us great instructions for this, so I do want to lay this out first and foremost. Option number 1 is to drive to the docks and park your car. So there is a designated cruise lot where you can leave your car. There is a daily fee, but there are valets to get your luggage, and they will, if you have them tagged, you print off your tags, they will take them directly to your room on the ship, and you can hop on a free shuttle, and then they will take you to the ship, and then you just hop in line. Option number 2 is to have someone drop you off right at the ship. Now, the instructions were not clear, and we thought we had to be dropped off at the shuttle, but you can go directly to the docks, have someone drop you off, and I would recommend that because the shuttle wasn't slow, but we definitely lost about 30 minutes just winding through the parking lot because the line was so long, and then we had to wait for the shuttle, and then we had to pop way back in line, and we would have been a lot further along in the line if we had just driven straight to the boat. Now, once you're at the ship, the line is going to extend down in front of the Nauticus and USS Wisconsin, but just hop in that line and it moves pretty quickly. You do have to go up about 3 levels of stairs. If you can't, there are elevators, but they sent groups up in about 50 people at a time. And so we went through fairly quickly, but it probably took about 30 to 45 minutes from in front of the Nauticus Museum to getting up into the security checkpoint lobby. So make sure you leave plenty of time to actually get on the boat, but it isn't hard. It does just end up being a lot of waiting. And for that reason, if you do have a lot of bags or heavy luggage, I would really recommend you let the valets just take it up to your room. Otherwise, you're going to be handling your luggage for about an hour just going through these lines. You do have to go through like some scanners, and it's just going to be easier on you to have as few items as possible. Once you get through the security scanners, the only thing left is to meet with a customs agent who's going to check your boarding passes and your passports, and then make sure you're all set before they allow you to actually board the ship. From there, it's pretty easy. You just have to walk up the gangway and you'll be on the Carnival Sunshine. Okay, so once you board the ship, if you board at the same place we did, you'll be coming in right on deck 3, and that's going to pop you right out into the Sunshine Atrium. This is the center of everything at the Carnival Sunshine, and it is such a cool area. It's this open lobby that goes up several stories. It has these really cool chandeliers, glass elevators, so as you go up and down, you can look into the lounge area. It's got a bar right in the middle, lots of seating areas. It is just a really cool place to be, and this is actually where they're going to host a lot of social events, music performances, things like that. A lot happens here throughout the week, and again, that's pretty close to like the center of the ship. Honestly, this area can feel a little overwhelming when you first walk in. I know I was, because you see floor after floor going up on the ship just from this one entry point, and so you see the shops and all the photography booths, and there's just a lot going on. But don't worry, because after like one day on the ship, you're gonna know where pretty much everything is, and it's not gonna seem quite so big. The ship definitely seemed huge on the very first day, but after just like a day of exploring, I very quickly realized that so much of the ship you're never gonna go to because it's just rooms. So there's so much to see that's public areas, but the majority of the ship are staterooms and crew areas. So you'll have plenty to explore, but there's so much you don't even have to worry about. So once you get your bearings, you're gonna know right where to go for all the fun stuff, and then you can just forget about even caring about anything else. On the topic of rooms, let's talk about the different types of staterooms available. So there are like 10 or more different options for rooms that you can choose from, including suites, balconies, ocean views, and then interior rooms. Now, we ended up just doing an interior room because, one, we weren't really planning on being in our room a whole lot, so we didn't really care if there was a view. We were going to be on deck anyways. Two, interior rooms are the cheapest, so why not? But if you do want something that's a little more upgraded or you need more space, there are plenty of options for you. The suites are going to be the most expensive, but you're going to get the most perks like extra space. The bathrooms are stocked with Elemis bath products. You get priority boarding. Like, there's extra perks that come with being in those rooms. However, if you prefer perks for like the spa on the ship, you can get one of their Cloud9 spa rooms that also have the Elemis bath products, and you get priority reservations for the spa. There's bathrobes and slippers and a special little welcoming ritual, and they have those for like the interior staterooms and ocean views, so you can choose to add that on at pretty much any level without having to go all the way to suite. But again, we just got the standard interior stateroom, so I can only speak to that from personal experience, but I will say I was pretty happy with it. I was honestly expecting the room to be a lot more cramped than it was, so I was pretty pleasantly surprised with how much space we had to walk around and the amount of storage. Like, we were able to put so much in the wall closets, and then there were drawers that we didn't even use because we unpacked all the way for the week. So there was plenty of space for us to put our stuff away and then spread out as we like got more souvenirs throughout the week. There was a big counter in the main room under the TV where we could put those. There was a small table where we ate breakfast a few times that we brought down from the buffet. I will say I was very happy that we took my rolling collapsible suitcase, because once we unpacked, we were able to just squish that down and shove it under the bed, and it was not in our way for the entire week. So that definitely helps save some space versus having a big old suitcase in the room with us. So I would definitely recommend that suitcase if you're going on a cruise for that reason. If you do want to check that out, you can visit my Amazon affiliate shop, and it's under my travel favorites. The bathroom was probably my biggest complaint because it was just so small and cramped, but you know, that was probably where we spent the least amount of our time. You just kind of had to get used to the toilet angle with the door and just really only having space for one person in there at a time. The beds were okay. That was probably what I liked the least about the room as a whole. I just did not think the beds were very comfortable. The options are to either have two twins or push them together to make a queen. So that's what we had. I just didn't really like the mattress personally. The sheets were okay. The pillows were fine. I liked that they had little lights on the bed so I could stay up reading even if Daniel wanted to go to sleep. But honestly, I didn't sleep great on those mattresses. Something else that was slightly annoying was the lack of power outlets in the room. The main power outlet was on the opposite wall from the bed underneath the TV, and it had two plugs. So we were kind of swapping out devices there throughout the week. There weren't any in the bathroom. So we really only had those two power outlets to charge our phones, my GoPro, if I wanted to curl my hair, anything like that. We were sharing two plugs for the whole week, so that really wasn't ideal, but we got used to it. I did, however, feel like the room was very well lit. And I also like that they had a motion sensor light. So if you had to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, you weren't stumbling around in the pitch dark in this interior room. It would flicker on for just a few seconds and give you time to get to the bathroom or go check your phone or whatever you needed to do without tripping on something. I did also appreciate all of the storage shelves in the bathroom, like right by the vanity. There were several sets of shelves, so you could actually unpack all of your stuff. The sink wasn't huge, but there was actual room to put my stuff while I was getting ready, which is huge. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. So I could have my stuff out and then I could put it away on the shelves. I had one side, Daniel had another, and then I also hung my cosmetic bag on the back of the door, and that worked out just fine. I was also very happy with the cleanliness of the room overall. It was great when we got in there. Then every day someone did come in and remake our bed, make sure we had fresh towels, make us a cute little towel animal to go on the bed. And so it just felt like the room got a nice refresh every day. So that was just nice to come back to at the end of a long day of fun. Just one final note, as you go to pick your stateroom, I would really recommend that you take a look at the ship's map and one, make sure that your room is at least somewhat away from the elevators. Now, the elevators had a pretty decent sized lobby. We were actually only like two doors down, but it was like probably 20-30 feet away from the actual elevator. So it wasn't too noisy, but you may want to choose something that's further down the hall if you are worried about noise. The other problem we ran into was our room was directly over the casino. So thankfully they did have like quiet hours, but there were a couple nights where we heard someone celebrating a win after midnight. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you are worried about getting some rest, you will probably want to choose a room that's far away from any noisy areas. And you can see all of that information on the ship's map. And yes, you can hear noise through the floor. So can confirm, go at least 2 floors up from the casino. All right, let's talk about dining. There are 13 different options for food that you can have at pretty much any mealtime, which is insane. However, if you spread them out throughout the week, you can have the opportunity to eat at each one and not feel like there's an overwhelming number of options. So the ship has a number of included restaurants, and then they have certain restaurants that charge for dinner. So for breakfast and lunch, you can eat at pretty much any location except for the sunrise and sunset dining rooms. You can reserve a special brunch spot in the sunrise dining room, but that's something you have to do ahead of time. Otherwise, the sunrise and sunset dining rooms are just for dinner service, and you will be assigned a dinner time slot where you can go into those restaurants every night and have a meal. You'll have a dedicated server that comes to your same table, and you'll be able to have a delicious meal included there every night. But for breakfast and lunch, you can eat wherever you want, and there's a great selection of food. There's the Blue Iguana, which has like Mexican food, tacos, and burritos. There's Swirls, which just is soft serve ice cream all day, all the time. There's the Guy's Burger joint. There's a little Italian place that will custom make a pasta for you if you want. There's a deli. There are just so many options to choose from. There's a pizza place that will make fresh pizza in front of you, and then that actually opens up again late at night along with the Lido Marketplace buffet. So if you want to go get pizza at midnight, you can. You have options to eat at a lot of these places all day long. But again, dinner is where it does get a little trickier. Places like Guy's Burger Joint and the Blue Iguana aren't open for dinner, so you can only get them at breakfast and lunch. But other restaurants up on the Lido deck like Gigi Asian and Cucina del Capitano only take dinner reservations, and there is an additional fee if you want to eat there for dinner. So we actually ended up having one meal at Gigi's. It was amazing. It was a very elevated Asian meal, and we were each able to choose an appetizer, a side, an entree, and a dessert, and there was so much food, and it was only $24 a person, which is insane to me because they gave us each at least $50 worth of food. I would say even 75 in most restaurants for how elevated the presentation was and how good the food was and the portions. Like, it was kind of crazy. So that's definitely a great one to try at least one night. But otherwise, you're going to have so many awesome options in your sunrise or sunset dining room because they serve up some really great meals there as well. And again, those are included in your cruise fare. Honestly, I lost track of all the delicious meals we tried because you could order like 2 appetizers and 2 entrees every night. So we were trying a lot of food. They had frog legs, they had lamb and duck dishes, they had steaks, like a lot of stuff that I don't get to eat normally. So I was super excited about that. Here's a few screenshots from just one night with different types of food we got to try, like spaghetti carbonara, shrimp cocktails, roast leg of lamb, roasted beef sirloin, a broiled strip loin steak, surf and turf, grilled lamb chops, banana cream pie, cappuccino pâte de crème. Like, they just had so many options every single day. And I will say some of it was better than others, but there were a few dishes that I would love to try again, and the menu changed every single day, so you never got bored. Now, most nights the dining was pretty casual. You could come in just about anything besides swimwear, but there were 2 nights where they did ask you to dress up, and both these nights they had photo booths everywhere where you could take a bunch of special pictures in your fancy outfits. But to go to dinner in the sunset or sunrise dining room, you did need to be wearing something a little nicer. So I ended up wearing a couple nice dresses. Daniel was in khakis and a tie. And so just keep that in mind. For our cruise, it was 2 nights. So you could rewear the same outfit, but we took 2 different ones, and we did have to have that nicer attire to go to dinner. Now, we did not try all these out, but there are actually 10 different bars and pubs on the ship, plus a coffee spot and a shake spot. So there are plenty of options outside of the dining rooms to get whatever kind of drink you are looking for. Bars are by far the most prevalent. You will find them throughout the ship, often 2 per deck. So you will have plenty of options if you want to grab a drink pretty much any time of day. They're up on the sun deck by the pools. You'll find one right in the liquid lounge. They have them in pretty much all of the entertainment spots as well. So you will never be thirsty, but those do have an additional fee. Drinks of any kind are not included outside of the dining room. So your water, juice, lemonade, that kind of thing. Anything else is going to have an additional fee. The dining rooms do serve coffee, but it wasn't great. So you might want to upgrade and get a better cup at like the Java bar or something like that. The last thing I want to hit on here is the service and just overall experience. And I have to say, I was very impressed. On a ship with this many people, like it was sold out. I thought the staff did a fantastic job. And like I realize like they're getting paid to do a good job, but I mean, how often do we have like a negative customer service experience? I was just so impressed by how friendly the staff were. Our waiter, bless his heart, he had our names memorized for all four of us on the second night. Like he knew who we were. We would see him around the ship doing other jobs at different dining locations, and he would smile and he'd wave at us and he'd say hello. Like he recognized us. We had a specific guy in charge of cleaning our room, and if he saw us in the hall, he would say hi and check and ask how the room was and if there was anything else we needed. Like those specific little details, I thought just made such a difference. And it was really nice to have like at least two people that were dedicated specifically to like us and a small other handful of people, not just every worker is helping everyone, if that makes sense. But just overall, everything was so seamless. Everyone we talked to was nice and helpful, and that really added to the experience for me. I was also very happy with just the cleanliness of everything overall. With this many people, you'd expect the ship to be getting gross, there to be trash, towels, and everything, and there wasn't. The staff was just on top of things. In the little marketplace, they were real quick about cleaning up the tables so new people could come in and sit down. Like, I just thought they did a really good job with all of that. And again, anytime you pass them, like they were smiling, they were friendly. So that definitely helped the experience too. I think the biggest problem that we had on our trip wasn't even for us, it was for our friends we were traveling with. They could not get into their room. I think they had to go to the front desk like 3 times and have a maintenance worker like reprogram their door lock because they just could not get in. So that was very frustrating for them to deal with on their first day. But the staff was very responsive and they ended up giving them some really nice compensation as well. Maybe they could have done a little more to help out, but it did seem like they were pretty responsive and they wanted to make the situation better as best they could. All right, guys, that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching this review of the Carnival Sunshine. I hope that this was helpful in giving you an idea of what to expect if you book a trip with them. But again, stay tuned for part 2 because I'm going to have a lot more information coming about entertainment and onboard activities and things like that in just a couple weeks. So make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss that. If you do have any questions about the topics that I covered today, please let me know down in the comment section below, and feel free to leave any comments you have as well. I love hearing from you guys, so please just drop that below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. As always, I have a full written blog post about this on my website at cochranewriting.com. I'd encourage you to go check that out as well. And if you like this post, please give it a thumbs up, save it for future reference, and share it with whoever you're planning to take a Carnival cruise with. Once again, thank you so much for stopping by, and I wish you many happy travels.